What's up, everybody? I'm Stan, and welcome to Detail Comics, where we go over comics in detail. This is iRate Reviews, the show where I go over a comic book, its story, its art, give you my impressions, and let you know whether it's something to go back to the shop for or not. What I'm going to be talking about is Champions number 3. So Champions is probably one of the best, one of the most recommended books out of this entire Marvel Now 2.0 initiative. And what it does is it gets together a young team of individual heroes like Amadeus Cho's Hulk, Viv from the Vision, Cyclops, Miss Marvel, Miles Morales, and then also Sam Alexander's Nova. So it gets these kids together so that way they can become a next generation of the Avengers, but they take on different kinds of tasks. Avengers really deal more with planetary and cosmic and really large events, whereas the Champions seem to be a little bit more of a champion of culture and progression and those things like society. So what we do is we pick up with a relatively grim scene. There's books covered in blood, but immediately jumps over to when Amadeus Cho and Viv from the Vision are making out, and everybody is just kind of like stunned and sitting there. As they break their embrace, Viv is just like, well, I told you that I wanted to, kiss somebody to understand how my senses would feel, and to be honest with you, not much of a response. And you see the little heartbreaky bubble coming up from Amadeus Cho, and it was really funny, but ultimately Viv suggests, maybe if I try with a different gender, and immediately Kamala Khan turns around to Sam and Miles, and she's like, sorry boys, not feeling like I'm in an experimental mood right now, which that entire setup made me laugh out loud when I read it. After they're done with this, and the boys are kind of ribbing Cho Hulk for not necessarily scoring with the girl the way that he expected, and he's just like, don't worry about it, synthezoid head to toe, felt like nothing, it was just like, kissing a toe or something like that. He was just trying to save face, but you can tell he's hurt on the inside because he's this very macho individual. He feels very confident. But what he does is he's got a little surprise for everybody. Evidently, the Champions now have their own vehicle, since this converted technological taco truck is now the spaceship or the ship that they're going to be able to fly around the world and help out different people. And what we see is that as soon as everybody kind of gets together, even though there's not enough seats for everybody, they start getting into the team leader conversation, and immediately Cho just assumes that because he's the smartest, he's going to be the leader. And Miss Marvel assumes that she's going to be the leader because it was her idea. And then because Sam and Miles, Sam just likes to poke the bear a little bit, he's just like, watch this. And he's just like, well, Cyclops has led the X-Men. He should be the leader. They both just immediately whip around and they're like, that's really funny. And Cyclops is like, that's not that funny. I'm a pretty good leader. So I thought that was, the interactions are great. And it shows that these guys aren't necessarily friends yet. They're acquaintances. They're trying to build this team. They don't necessarily trust each other. They don't have enough background. And it's kind of giving that uneasy sense of cooperation that's really, you remember when you're a kid, you don't necessarily become friends in an instant. Some people you do, some people you don't. But what they understand is that there's a situation brewing in the Middle East where essentially there are a group of girls that are being, terrorized and killed because they're attempting to learn and better themselves. And these kind of radicals are out there trying to basically oppress them. And this is something that's right up Miss Marvel's alley. So she's out there to defend the people, their own people, her own people. She's out there to defend them, and then Amadeus Cho is out there defending education because he hates it when people deny anybody else the right to learn. And then ultimately, Cyclops has been fighting for equality of all individuals for a long time, whether you're talking about the old one or the young one. So they immediately go over there, they handle some of the situation, save the girls, and then they're like, okay, we can help you out, and we can take out, and they're like, nope, you are not going to be able to help. You are not going to do that. Why? A, you're U.S. people, so you're going to cause an international incident. B, you're going to make us seem weak, and as soon as you leave, it's just going to be worse. So we need to show our own strength and independence. And Kamala Khan and Cyclops are like, she could be a pretty good team leader. So that was really funny too. So instead of kind of going in and doing the natural superhero thing and taking everybody out, what they do is they kind of hide and provide support for these girls as they do their own rally and show their strength, independence, and their objection to the system of this culture. And this is where you kind of get the instance, the idea really, of where this book is going to go. So the Champions are going to be going out and they're going to be taking on causes. They're going to be taking on cultural things. They're not necessarily going to be fighting off giant bad guys. Like, they probably will partake in that every once in a while, but there's going to be a serious focus on the issues of the youth and the future of the world in general. So this is where Mark Waid is really kind of making his claim, and this is the direction that you're seeing this book go, and it becomes very obvious at this point in time. So as they resolve this giant issue, and they become like honorary champions with a C on their shirts and stuff like that, it was great, but they get back into the team leader debate, and immediately the technological taco truck gets shot down, and then that's where we're going to take off in issue number 4. So as far as the Champions is concerned, the story itself, I really enjoyed the story myself, but I can see how some people might not necessarily appreciate getting overtly political in these kind of things. It seems like very, progressive or social justice warrior kind of situation, but it feels organic. This is a very logical progression to go through things and to have these characters make these kind of leaps to want to help out in these conflicts. And that's the difference between, say, somebody that just kind of forces something in there because it's a hot topic right now, or they actually successfully integrated it into a storyline to make sure that it makes sense for the characters to be acting in that way. As far as art's concerned, Humberto Ramos' art is fantastic. I really like the fact that they're stylized, it's young, it feels vibrant, it feels fresh, and that's probably one of the best things about it. I've always been a fan of his art style, and I feel like it's a little bit better than, say, like Mike Del Mundo, which goes a little bit too far into stylized and, stretched out and things. It's just a little bit more controlled, and it really fits the youthful aspect of this book. So as far as Champions is concerned as a series and Champions number 3 as an issue, it's definitely something I'd recommend people pick up. You might not necessarily find that it's for you, but it's definitely one that you're going to have to check out just to see where you're at on that. So that's my review of Champions number 3, but I want to know what you guys thought, so hit me up in the comments down below and we can start that conversation. As always, if you like what you see, hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe right there to get more news, reviews, and commentary on comic books, comic book movies, comic book TV shows and games, and anything and everything inside the world of comics.